What's up, After Buzzers? We are back with Raising Dion, issue 105, Days of Mark's Future Past. And boy, do we see a lot of Michael B. Jordan in this episode, and emotions are running high, so stay tuned.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back. I am your host, Suzie G, and we're here tonight breaking down episode 105 of Raising Dion for you. And boy, do we have a great episode. I am a huge Michael B. Jordan fan, and he's all over this episode. And I also want to introduce you to my co-host, Miss K. Montgomery, a Sammy superfan. Welcome.
Thank you. So excited to get into this episode. Sammy comes through with some awesome things as Esperanza this episode.
Yes, and we're so excited for this episode. We've got some big news for you tonight. We have a cast member that has sent us a special message. We also are covering lots of birthday parties. So many emotions are going on in this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about Michael B. Jordan, some of our favorite movies from him, and also we get to see what really happens to Mark. So let's jump right into it and talk about this birthday party.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that Dion is sharing his birthday party with just, I don't want to say a random kid, but like, how well do we know this kid?
We don't know him at all.
Yeah, not at all. But it ended up being, fortuitous for Nicole because things just kind of fall apart at the end there with her trying to piece this kind of party together. Tessa comes in for the win, the neighbor, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think what we see here that's so special is we're almost kind of defining these roles now that they've moved to a new neighborhood. We're seeing that her old friends that are kind of throwing this birthday party with her really, truly kind of aren't. And then Tessa steps in and, steps up. Esperanza is there. So I'm feeling already that emotionally her newer friends are going to be a big part of Nicole's life here. Mm-hmm. And again, that shows through this birthday party.
Right. There's a point at the party where Dion gets upset and he says, I don't fit in here. I don't like it here.
Right.
But I think you make a very good point in that their friends, the new friends that they've made have really proven themselves to be really good friends really quickly. Tessa comes in, she drives Esperanza's dad's van and all the kids and those kids to the party and, just pinch hits for her. And Esperanza really comes to Dion's aid when he really needs it. Yeah, yes. So it's a good testament to, you don't have to have friends for a long time for them to be good friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing Nicole a little frazzled again in this episode. She gets a parking ticket. She gets, first of all, she has to go into work. So this is why Tessa comes into play here. And then we also see her going to get the cake, and the cake store's done, and she's crying. And it's just kind of another kind of messiness to Nicole that we're seeing a little bit throughout this episode.
Yeah, it's just nothing was going her way that day.
No.
Nothing at all. But right. I will say, I love her boss character, the new boss character. I can't remember his name right now, but
no, but he must have been in Dancing with Her, and he is fantastic. And so he's kind of fun, and he kind of there's a little bit of comedy in this episode, and in the birthday party there was kind of some fun parts to it.
Yeah.
But I think what's really big is how symbolic Mark is, because we see in this birthday episode a big part of Dion's superpowers, and then they kind of flash back to Mark's past at another birthday party of Dion's. So what did you think about that?
I really thought that was interesting, especially because you see that he's at a point where he wants to explain more to Nicole, but he doesn't want to scare her, so he's still keeping the secret, and he hasn't gotten a control over his powers. But he really wants to go to the party, so we see him just teleport is a word. We see him teleport immediately to the party, which we've seen Dion do before, right? When he almost got hit by that car, he teleported to his mom's arms. So that was really interesting. Also, to get a greater kind of a handle on Mark, you knew that's really where his heart was, because we know that when it comes to him and Dion, emotions manage those powers. They're directly related. So his heart was really there, and he really wanted to be there, and so his powers teleported him there without, him even wanting to or realizing that was going to do it. Yeah.
And I think what's so great about that is this episode really teaches us that emotions for Dion and for Mark especially are what controls their superhero powers. Yeah. And so then we go back to poor little Dion. He's so upset at the party. And we see him fly his inhaler across the sky. And, of course, Esperanza sees. And I think we all knew at some point she was going to reveal that she knew. We called it. Yeah. That Dion had superhero powers.
Right. Well, she says you have powers. And then he says, I'm a superhero. And she's like, I don't think you a superhero. You got powers, bruh. No, slow it down. Which is why she's the best. Because it's like totally true. You have to earn a superhero. Yes. Flying your asthma inhaler to you does not make you a superhero because you saved no one's life but your own. But true. I loved how she was like, yeah, I already knew you had powers. I was just waiting for you to tell me. Which is like so funny. And she's just proven herself. She said once again she's perceptive. She pays attention.
Right.
Yeah.
And once again Pat sticks his foot in his mouth and tells Suzanne, his boss, that it's Dion's birthday. So they come to the birthday party.
Listen.
And there's Lars and Suzanne. And I mean, I don't know if they saw that fly, but they might have. But I think they know, as we've said, that that obviously Dion, there's something special about this kid.
Something's up, yeah. I mean, we love Pat, right? We're Team Pat here. But when he told Suzanne, I was like, why are you telling Suzanne? We need to box Suzanne out as much as possible. She already done cornered you in the room and is like, were you there? Were you on the floor? Like, oh my goodness, Pat, yeah.
Again, something that we know Pat is going to continue to do. But I think the birthday party scene, again, because I think it's just special that we see Mark driving the car. First time he sees it, he has some kind of weird superhero.
Yeah, it was insane.
He almost crashes the car. He stops it. So I think going back and forth for me was symbolic because it's just, again, we're finally seeing a father-son moment a little bit more than just mother and son.
That's true. And I think we really captured just how much love, how much love he still has for Dion. We find out at the end he still has for Dion because, he does a little ghost visit at the end.
Yes. Yeah. And speaking of love, you have a special message for us.
Yeah, I do have a special message specifically about our favorite Michael B. Jordan moments.
We are talking about being YouTube subscribers on AfterBuzz.
Oh, yes. So the one thing that we so appreciate with you guys is you guys tuning in, especially if you're watching on YouTube. We want you to make sure to remember to subscribe and comment. We love comments because we love to talk back and forth with you guys, especially if you're live. Go ahead and hit us up in the chat. And then also follow us on Instagram. We're also on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. We love to communicate with superfans so we can keep bringing you guys great content. We also want to thank the creators of AfterBuzz, Maria Menounos and Keven Undergaro, which helped to create this platform and give you guys this awesome content. And we're just so glad to and happy to be a part of it. So we couldn't do anything without you guys watching. So we're so appreciative and happy to have you guys here. So thanks.
And you can comment all over the world, including Iceland, which gets right into our next topic, this whole Icelandic experience that all of these people had up there that was kind of rather crazy.
Yeah, really.
What did you think of all of this?
So I didn't know. I think, and you said this when we were watching, like the visual effects are awesome. Right? So when they go and they see the Northern Lights, it's beautiful.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
It's really funny because, as always, Jason Ritter's character is trying to, constantly getting shut down by girls, trying to, just being a complete and total nerd. I think a really interesting aspect of that whole, their talking and that relationship was when he found out that Mark and Nicole had gotten married.
Yes.
And
his little heart sank and was broken.
Yeah.
He was losing his sidekick, best bud, best friend to somebody who's a little bit messy, as he says, and kind of all over the place.
She's out of. Did he say she's out of hand or she's a lot to handle?
She's a lot to handle.
And he was like,
no one wants to hear that.
Yeah, he was like, I love that she's a lot to handle. When he said that, I was like, yes, Mark, yes, he loves that she's a lot to handle. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. But it just kind of reinforced poor, sad Pat that didn't come out of the yurt. He could have had the special power.
But she didn't.
And he didn't. And Mark continued to tell him, you're missing everything. It's beautiful. Come out and see it. Yeah.
In this last episode, we saw the farmer. And then in this episode, he's there.
Yeah, Walter.
So we kind of now know that we're going to start seeing some more of these characters that were there that maybe that they're tracking, that are going to have, you know, all of these experiences.
Right. We saw Charlotte
Tuck was there. So again, but when it was happening, it was so beautiful that they were all just taking it in. And again, Pat's in there, you know, knowing that something's going wrong. But I just think that kind of showing some more people in that, I kind of wonder if some more of those characters are going to come in the next few episodes.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
They have to be tracking them, I would assume.
Yeah, we saw it on the big screen. So many people they're following all around. Yeah.
So I think this whole experience up there, and again, we kind of saw a little bit of Charlotte Tuck. So I think that that's something. I think she's going to be coming back. We all hope so.
Yeah, we liked her as a character.
But we also don't know what happened to Walter. What do you think?
Oh my goodness. I don't know what went down with Walter. The sad thing is, whatever went down, his son saw the whole thing. Braden saw it.
Yes.
You know, it's just like
and now
traumatic experiences.
I also want to know how a farmer got up to Iceland for the Northern Lights. I don't know why I find that. It's like, oh, there's Walter. But again, it's kind of bringing everything together. So now I'm just in anticipation of who else we see. And kind of, you know, that's that whole little Iceland experience that they've had. But again, I kind of feel the worst for Pat in all of it because he just got the short end of the stick.
He did. I wonder, did it ever work out with the girl? Well, evidently not, because look, he's single.
He's just out of luck. He didn't get the superhero powers, but we are seeing him continue to be a mentor for Dion, which I think is great.
Yeah, he's doing great at that.
You know, which I like. But I think another big part of this episode was we get to see more of Nicole and what her passion is, and they really dive in to her dancing, which I loved.
Yeah, I thought it was really sweet. There's a part where Mark's character is watching her dance, and I just love that he just had on a hoodie. He looks completely and totally out of place.
Yes, he does.
And I really related because I have a daughter that dances. She's a classical ballerina, and now she does a little more modern and contemporary and hip hop. She does everything. She's super talented. But it's interesting that I don't know anything about ballet or modern and contemporary, but I can watch her and still really be moved because the passion that she has for the art form. So I really felt that Mark's character was in that place. You know, he's a scientist, nerdy type of guy, but he was watching her and obviously being really emotionally touched and moved, and afterwards just so proud of her. And I just love that aspect of it.
And it's great because dancing for me growing up was I was in my element. I was happy. It was my happy place. And I think, again, we're seeing Nicole finally not in a messy place. You know, she was in control as a dancer. And that's why I like that she now has this job in the dance studio, because I think it's bringing her back to a really happy place. But we also find out that she's pregnant.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yes.
That little twist.
What did you think about that?
Well, I mean, Mark's character handled it brilliantly, of course, because he's perfect.
He's perfect.
Yeah, so, you know, she's all nervous to tell him, and he's like, you know, they've only been married for a short period of time at that point. But he reacts perfectly. He's super excited.
Right.
And he tells her, basically, we're a team and we're going to do it together.
But what I thought was unique is if we go back to the birthday party, you know, we keep hearing that Mark started acting funny. We all know now that it's because he has these superhero powers.
Right.
But
when your hand disappears, it kind of makes you...
He kind of started to act like his father, which she said she didn't want with traveling. So you see a little bit of a rift at moments with them. So I do wonder if they were having any type of problems in their relationship. It just kind of seemed during that birthday party scene, followed by her talking to him about being pregnant, that the relationship was a little strained. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I feel like...
Not strained, but
she's always been just a great communicator. I mean, there was no... you know, like holding on to grudges. She just told him straight up, listen, you're acting like your father. We said we weren't going to do it this way.
Right.
You need to be here. Like, very clear.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, ask for what you need, girl. Go for it. I really admired that about her in the relationship. Right. Yeah, and you could just see how excited and how much he wanted to be a father, but how much his powers were keeping him from doing that and endangering his son's life at some points.
Right.
Yeah.
And going back to emotions running high, he basically just makes himself teleport without even knowing how to control himself right into that birthday party. And that, going back into emotions, towards the end, he links up with Charlotte Tuck.
Right.
So let's talk about that, because that's just another emotional scene that we see Mark's character, well, he disappears.
Yeah. I was glad to see Charlotte Tuck again. Yes. I was hoping that she could be a little more of a shepherd for him, because she had been through some of the things that he had been through. She had said she'd been connecting with people more. I wanted her to guide him or give him a little more guidance.
Yeah, it was interesting.
She was just kind of like, you know, kind of how her attitude is, though, because she's kind of like.
But she does talk about how two people, because he asks for guidance, and then she's like, well, two people have disappeared. And I'm like, well, where did those people go?
Right.
Are they coming back? Are we going to see them? Is this coming for us?
Yeah, she's not comforting you at all.
No, you're like...
She's like, well, there's people
horrified.
missing. I know, she makes it worse. Can you help me? Oh, your family doesn't know? Listen, there's people missing. I'm like, what? What?
You're not helpful.
Yeah, she wasn't very helpful.
But we do finally see that scene where Mark supposedly dies that we've been kind of leading up to. So that's big, which then kind of breaks my heart, because we know that this storm, lightning guy is here, and we see Dion kind of at the end of the episode, and I'm worried for him a little bit. Are you?
Yeah, definitely. Because we saw it on the computer posting last episode, and it was kind of ill-defined. It was like kind of rough. Like, are we imagining that this is a guy? Like, you know, the person imagining Prince on the blueberry pancake from the episode with the girl. But this time, when they showed it this episode, it was super defined. There was no question. Like,
and I'm like, is he becoming more defined because he's taking more people's
lives?
My
gosh, don't say that. He's becoming
that's
more powerful.
I'm being very morbid on
Good
this.
job, Suzie.
But
yes.
Dion, you know, Michael B. Jordan appears at his bed, and we still don't know. I think he's good.
Oh, he's definitely good.
But then he disappears back into the lightning guy, and then we see the lightning, and I don't know, I'm getting really worried that they are going to come after him.
Yeah. I wonder if he's doing some type of protection over him.
Right.
That was really comforting to see, though, because the thread throughout the whole episode was kind of that, like you said, the father-son relationship. Yes. And for you to see in the final scene, he came back to visit his son, even though he's a ghosty lightning type of figure, but it's still Mark. So I was like, oh, the love is still there for his son. That was really touching.
Now, what did you think, going back to one of the first episodes where Esperanza kind of says that she wants to be invisible, and then Charlotte Tuck talking about how she's channeled her superpowers? That is the one piece of advice she kind of gave to Mark. She learned how to control and be invisible, because that's what she wanted to be.
Right.
Is there going to be a connection between Charlotte Tuck and Esperanza at some point?
I don't know. That would be interesting. Yeah. I recall, like, Esperanza saying she is invisible. I don't know how much she wants to be invisible.
Right.
But I think that, you know, she's used to kind of being cast off to the side and ignored.
Yes. Because
kids view her differently, because she's differently abled.
Right.
But yeah, that would be interesting to see our two favorite sassy queens hook it up.
Sassafras, as I always like to say.
Join forces. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's something, you know, again, with Charlotte, I just think it's really unique how we're learning how everyone's channeling these superpowers. For Mark and for Dion, it's through emotion. For Charlotte Tuck, it's through being invisible. She can just make herself disappear. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
crazy.
I want to be able to do that. What about you? What's your superhero power you would like?
Oh my gosh, what superhero power would I like? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be invisible because I don't need to hear I don't need to hear people's thoughts or anything. I used to think flying, but then I'm like, that requires some amount of effort.
Yeah.
So when I get somewhere, am I going to be sweaty? Because is it just like I'm exerting, you know what I mean? Myself, so I'm going to get there, my hair going to be messed up. Girl, I'm trying to be cute. I got over, I flew over to New York in a half an hour, but my hair is a mess. Like, is it even worth it? I don't know.
That is very true. Well, speaking of superheroes and all of that, Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Because I think he's a superhero, and as do you.
As do I.
So for our special segment, tell us a little bit about what we have tonight.
Well, first of all, have you ever heard Michael B. Jordan, the B referred to as Bay, Michael Bay Jordan?
Oh, no, that's going to be my new word for him.
I love it. So I thought we could discuss just a few of our favorite Michael B. Jordan roles. Listen. Okay, so I was talking, you said all of them. Suzie, you're a huge fan. I love it. So the first thing that came to my mind was movies, but then I thought, wait a minute. There's a Michael B. Jordan and a Jason Ritter connection via TV.
There is.
Do you remember it?
I do not.
Okay, so Parenthood, which is a little bit an NBC show, which is kind of the precursor to This Is Us, has some of the same writers. Yep. So Jason Ritter was on that show, and Michael B. Jordan was also on that show.
So they have crossed paths.
They have crossed paths before. And this was one of my favorite Michael B. Jordan roles because he was a boyfriend of a girl on the show.
Okay.
And he was struggling with alcohol addiction, and he just did that part so expertly. Right. He was such a great boyfriend, but he was also in AA, but he was also really young. He was like 19 and had a really rough life. Yeah.
He's probably, for me, I would say, his roles in Creed. I think the Black Panther obviously is a huge, huge hit for me, but what I'm really looking forward to is he's doing a new show on Amazon streaming, so we're doing another streaming show.
Oh, awesome.
And it is with Seth Rogen. So it's called Middle West, and they're filming that now, so I'm kind of interested to see how that
is it a comedy or what kind of?
It is a drama.
Interesting.
Yes. So this is kind of his future roles for Michael B. Jordan that I'm really looking forward to.
Awesome.
Are you liking him in this role?
I love him in this role.
That's great.
He's awesome in this role. I love that he's a little bit nerdy, but also so sweet and charming and just like the family guy. I don't think we've ever seen him as a father. Have we seen him as a father? I'm trying to think.
Not really. I think this is one of his first roles that he plays, and you just kind of want to cheer for him. We don't want to see him in The Lightning Guy. We hope that he hasn't really gone away. Maybe he's going to come back.
Yeah.
But I think, again, Michael B. Jordan roles. Any other ones that you really liked? Any other roles that he played?
I'm a Philly I lived in Philly for about 9 years, and a lot of Creed was actually taped in my neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the gym that he boxes at, my husband used to box at that gym. So Creed is one of my favorites. Like, I loved him in Creed. Of course, I loved him as Killmonger. Probably my favorite is probably him as Killmonger. I mean, I just love those. I just love his hair in that show, and I love there's a part where he wears these glasses and his hair and his vest, and it's very 1990s reminiscent. Right. So I love it.
And I just love that he's executive producing. Mm-hmm. And again, especially in this role, because we are seeing him he's a great actor. Right. He can cover everything. But again, kind of see him in a little different role here. Yeah. So it's great. And I love when when he shows up in these episodes. Yeah, me too. Since the last episode, we didn't see much of Michael B. Jordan, but Yeah.
It's always a treat when Mark comes back around. Because like he unfolds so much that's going on in the plot.
Yes, more layers, more depth.
Yeah.
So, and we still don't totally know what happened to him, but that turns us into the news.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So some of the news that I have, a few things. First off, we were just talking about Jason Ritter, who you and I love.
Yes.
I recently found out that Jason Ritter's dad was John Ritter.
Yes.
John Ritter of Three's a Company and of 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. That was a hit in 2000s that I loved. And it just so happens that Jason lost his dad too, because we know John Ritter passed away in the 2000s, and at that point Jason was only 23. So it's really interesting to see him in this role and kind of revisit the father-son complexity relationship, and then a kid losing their father, early. So that's really interesting. And then also we know Jason Ritter made a guest appearance on A Million Little Things, and I guess it was a huge upset. People were not expecting it.
No, we don't know who he is, so it's kind of great.
So that's kind of a really interesting thing. So it's so fun to see him in other places doing different things.
I agree.
Yeah. Because we're huge fans of his.
Yes, and we also have some news from a cast member straight off Raising Dion. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we have been tweeting back and forth with Sammy Haney, who we love. So she is Esperanza on the show. You guys already know. Yes. And she is trying to get on the Ellen DeGeneres show, which we think that she totally would be perfect and so great on. So she shot a message to us because we've been supporting her.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was so great. She just said that she loves AfterBuzz, and we're always so excited when we have some of these cast members.
Thank you, Kate and Suzie from AfterBuzz.
She's adorable. Look at those glasses. I just love her so much.
I cannot wait to see how the rest of her character unfolds, but the support that she's given us, we're so excited for her, so we want to see her on the Ellen show more than anything.
Yeah, we definitely want you guys to follow her. She's on Twitter at Sammy, SAMMIHANEY, Sassy, SASSY, Sammy Haney, Sassy on Twitter, and then Sammy Haney on Instagram. We want you guys to follow her. We want you to like her. We want you to retweet her and tell Ellen at the Ellen show to have her on so she can talk about just the strides that she's been making for a differently able actor. She's awesome representative, and diversity and inclusion is so important.
Yes.
So.
And we're seeing a lot of that in this show, which is great. So speaking of Sammy, let's talk about predictions.
Oh boy.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
The lights of it all. So fancy. Man, I
don't know.
Okay. So I feel like episode 6, we are going to get not just the undercurrent of like, you're cute, like little, we're going to get some straight up flirting between Nicole and Pat. It's going to be some straight up from Pat. I mean, nerdy flirting. You know what I mean? I mean, nothing suave because it's Pat. But still, you're not going to be able to deny there is going to be a straight up flirt, and it's going to be reciprocated, and it's going down episode 6.
We did see neighbor Tessa say, girl, your man's flirting with someone else.
That was so funny.
It was just short and sweet.
Tessa.
So
she was like,
something.
You jealous? Are you jealous?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you are correct that something will go down. I also think some Biona biz is going to happen because Miss Suzanne is, Dion calls her. I mean, she was at the birthday party. So that is just leading in to some disastrous.
And she was on her phone when they were getting in the car. Did you see her like this? I was like, girl, why is she here?
Yes. So I think that we're going to see more of this Biona, the science, the center there, and kind of what's going on and how it is tying in. Because I still think that they have something to do with the weather patterns and this lightning.
Yeah,
guy.
they absolutely do. You know it.
I want to see what more like layers of that comes through for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have something to do with that weather.
And then what about Nicole? How do you think she's handling everything? What's your prediction there?
Okay, so last... I see you trying. You're teasing me because last time I was like, she just cannot get it together. She's depressed, you know. But listen. I will say this. Yeah. I feel like she redeemed herself this episode. Yeah. She really came through. You know, she did things continued to go wrong for her, and she did not give up. The cake place,
Right.
getting the ticket, not getting off of work early. She was like, forget it all. She kept pushing forward. She stayed positive. She didn't have a breakdown moment at the end, which I feel like she normally has, like every episode where she just like goes and cries. Yeah, she said,
I didn't cry in this episode. That's a good call.
that is true. I was looking like, wait a minute, what part? Yeah, I thought you cried when she was dancing. You didn't. You cried when she was dancing. No, so I feel like, I feel like she is becoming stronger. You said that one episode. You were like, I feel like she's getting stronger with each.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think she is, especially when she just pushes through and perseveres, and she's able to see that Dion is thriving and doing well.
Right.
Also, yeah.
And so we did not see Kat in this episode, but her sister's role coming up. Do you think she's going to find out that Dion's got these superpowers, and how do you think she's going to come back in?
I don't know. Do you think she's hiding it? Do you think that Nicole is hiding the powers from Kat? Because she hasn't shown them to Kat yet. Why not?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And there's something there, because that's that sister bond. And I don't know if it's just that Nicole doesn't want her to think that she's crazier and really losing it, because she's trying to hold it together. So I'm wondering if Nicole kind of starts to do better in her job and all that kind of stuff, that maybe Kat will kind of, at some point, she's going to have to find out.
Yeah.
But I don't know in what episode that's going to be.
Yeah. Already know, I love Kat's character. I mean, she's
great.
a boss.
Yes.
She's a boss. And she takes care of them, and she looks out for Nicole, and she just makes sure everything's okay. So she gave Dion that iPad that... which is like a typical aunt move.
Yes.
Giving your kids stuff that they don't, that you're like, why did you give them? My sister gave my kid a frog once. Like,
Oh.
and we had a 13-hour drive back home with this frog. Like, I was like, we're taking this frog back. Like, who's doing that? But yeah, so anyway, I love her for that. I love that she's the protective sister, and sometimes she oversteps, but she has best interests at heart. Yeah.
Right. And then finally, Dion and Esperanza. Dion finally accepts her as a friend. They have a bonding moment.
That's such a cute moment in the
Are
car,
they going to
isn't
become
it?
sidekicks?
I think so. I mean, all she
too.
needed was a little bit of encouragement. She's already stuck to him like a bird, right?
Right.
So she just needed a little bit of encouragement. It's on now.
I think so too. I think we're going to see them kind of coming together and like fighting a little bit of this superhero craziness together. That's my hope, because I hope she steps in and kind of helps save the world here.
Yeah. I mean, she about helped save his life when she unzipped the pack and she was rushing over to help him, you know.
So I think we're going to see more there. But that is it for our after show today. So Kay, tell me, where can we find you on your social media?
Oh, yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Kahaila. It's Kahaila, ITSKAHALIA. And then I'm on Twitter at Kahaila M. So that's KAHALIAM.
Thank you so much. And once again, guys, it is Suzie G. You can find me on socials at Suzie G Styles. And stay tuned. We'll have more episodes of Raising Dion coming your way. Buzz you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.